All right, belonging is foundational in any athletic program. Any program, any team, there has to be a sense of belonging for every single person that is on the team. Specifically, athletes. They have to find their belonging. And belonging is the first tenet of the Beyond framework. And so we're going to spend time for the next couple weeks working on belonging, talking about belonging. And so I want to get started just talking about belonging. We all know the importance of belonging. My dad used to tell me when I was a kid, I would say, Dad, why do people join gangs? Why do people join groups that do different things? He's like, hey, because they found a sense of belonging. And so we know that belonging is a core need for human beings, right? It's a core need. So how do we create this belonging in our programs? Player development, as you all should know, if this is your first time, thank you for coming, is the enhancement, of the athlete experience through holistic and intentional programs. So my name's Ed Jones. I'm a founder of Beyond the Field. Thank you for being here. I was in player development role at the University of Houston, University of Kansas, and Baylor University. And so this Beyond framework is something that I've taken all the stuff I've done and created a framework that's easy to use. I'll be guided here by a workbook that I used when I was at Iowa State to help the coaches there, and I've been helping other coaches with this workbook. But want to talk about belonging. That's the first core tenet in Beyond. And so we need to understand belonging. What does belonging look like? The importance of belonging. If you are a coach, athletic director, a parent, administrator, and you don't understand the importance of belonging, I'm here to help you. But you should have. I'm here to help you. I'm not gonna get on nobody. But so let's talk about it. Let's talk about belonging. Like I said, belonging is the first part of the Beyond framework. You can see it there. Belonging. All right. B is for belonging. All right. So when we look at this, there's a couple things I want to go over today in this video, and we'll have every video. I'm not going to break it all down. I'm going to take time because I believe that belonging is very, very pivotal to what is being done, specifically in player development. We're enhancing athletes, we're taking care of athletes. And so here's a stat by the American Psychological Association. It says students who feel they belong are significantly more likely to persist and succeed academically, right? And so everywhere I've been, I was a high school coach, I was a collegiate coach, and there's student athletes, and belonging works at pro level too in different sports as well. But when we're talking about students, right, academics is a huge part. If you're in college athletics like I was, or if you're a high school coach, shout out to all my high school coaches that are tuning in. High school coaches, I got a lot of great content for you. You need these students, right, to persist and succeed academically, right? But it all starts when those who feel they belong, right? There has to be a sense of belonging. So if I'm a high school coach, if I'm a college coach, I want to create belonging on a campus, right? If I'm a high school coach, started as a high school coach, I want to create belonging in my building. I want to create belonging with our teachers, our principals, administration, and create this belonging, right? Because studies show that students will persist. That's a big word, right? I'm really excited about them succeeding academically. But persist is something that is necessary. But persistence is something that they can not only use academically, but it is something that can be built to help them in athletics. So for today, I'm gonna focus on two questions, and these are two questions out of many and reflection questions I use when I'm consulting and working with programs. But there's two questions I really want to focus on as you're watching this and you're thinking about belonging, right? And the first one is, how do you want athletes to feel when they are part of your program? How do you want athletes to feel when they're part of your program, right? Feeling is a part of belonging. I feel this way when I'm there. I did an exercise recently where I had, some students, I was doing a workshop. I had them close their eyes and I said, hey, think about that coach you couldn't stand. You couldn't stand the coach. Every time you heard the coach, you could smell him right now. You can hear his voice, and people's faces literally start frowning, tensing up. Someone was like, then I said, okay, think about that coach. Think about that coach that changed your life, that coach that you felt great, that coach that encouraged you, that coach that, let you know that you belong and things like that. And people's smiles, their faces change, right? And so we want that feeling. When we're looking at player development, we want people to feel. Now, there's a lot of different things, right? Playing time, all that, but we want you to feel like you belong. I can't, in my role, I can't control playing time, but I want you to feel like you belong in this program. If you're a number two, if you're a scout team player, we want you to feel a sense of belonging there as well. And so what do you want your athletes to feel when they're part of your program? Do you want them to feel, valued? Do you want them to feel seen? Do you want them to feel that they understand their role, like that they're valuable to the grand scheme of what we're doing as a program? Whatever that is for you, you have to identify it. How do you want them to feel when they come back in 5 years and they say, Coach, you made me feel this way, right? And then I want you to pause right now and list the feelings you want them to have. If it's a feeling of success, if it's a feeling of determination, if it's a feeling of I can get it done, if it's a feeling of, the sky's the limit, if it's a feeling of confidence, whatever it is, I want you to write that down because you have the power to help those athletes feel like that in our belonging tenet. Now, this one is really good right here. And this question says, where in your program are athletes most likely to feel disconnected? Where in your program are athletes most likely to feel disconnected? That is one that sneaks up on you. That is one that, as I looked at my player development career, there were things I did well. This is one that I wish I would have had my eyes on, right? Someone asked me, Drew Davis actually spoke at the Player Development Summit 2026. It was great. It was awesome. Thank you all for everybody who was there. It's incredible. Excited for next year. Drew Davis asked me, he said, hey, Ed Jones, what was your favorite place where did you spend your most time outside of your office when you were in player development? And I told him the training room and the rehab lift. Why? Because these players were injured. They were injured. Our team is playing. Our team is having success. Specifically when you're having success and players are injured, because they can feel like, oh, they don't need me. They don't need me, right? So I spent a lot of time in the training room, a lot of time at the rehab lift, because I wanted to show them that, hey, a lot of staff member coaches got to go coach. Some coaches come through, but coaches got to go coach. They got to recruit. They got a lot of things going on. But I wanted them to see that, hey, I belong. Like Ed Jones came down here and I belong. And so you want to look at that. You want to say, okay, where could they be disconnect? Is it the training room? One of the biggest areas of disconnect when I was in player development is after a team recruits, or after a staff recruits and signs a group, they have to go recruit the next group. They got to start recruiting immediately. They're going to get hit the road in about a month or two to get the next class. And so there's this disconnect of players like, oh man, all y'all was hitting me up. I was feeling good. Now I'm on campus and I'm only talking to, not only, but mostly talking to Ed Jones, the strength coach, academics, compliance, equipment, sports med, the dietitian, right? And they're like, man, what happened to everybody? What happened to the whole recruit staff? What happened to all the coaching staff that were sending me letters, right? That's an area of disconnect, right? An area of disconnect can be when someone loses a position. I lost my role, right? Someone red shirts. That was always the hardest. Everywhere I worked, University of Houston, University of Kansas, Baylor University. Once we got out of fall camp, we had to get ready for week 1. And players knew that they were on scout team. That was we always had to be in the locker room. Because once you find out like, oh, dang, man, I'm not on the travel squad, right? Because you got to start doing the mock game or whatever. That was always a place you could disconnect, right? Or players could disconnect, right? And so there's different areas. You know what they are in your program. If you want more examples, reach out to me. My email is in the show notes. But you know where the areas of disconnect. And so once you identify those, you need to come back and reinforce belonging in those areas. So yeah, you have, freshman that just came in. He was really, really great. Now he's got to be scout team. He's realized, oh, dang, I've been 2-time All-State left tackle, and now I'm a scout team. I'm not going to be in the travel squad. And it's like, hey, hey, man, you still could work it. It's a long season. It's a long season. This is where you're starting. Let's continue to go. When you walked in your high school, were you a 2-time All-State player? No, I had to work for it. You got to work for it here. All right, this is part of your story, right? We have to find those levels of disconnect and not just let them fall. Oh, they should have known, or, you hurt, but whatever, man, we gonna get you back. Like, don't assume, right? You want to identify in your program where people could most likely feel disconnected. Like I said, I normally go deeper, but I want to take time. I really want to get into all these pillars. We're starting off with We're starting off with belonging in the Beyond framework. And so I want to take time today. Those are questions I have for you. If you have any questions for me, put it in the show notes. Excited to see you show up every single week. We're going to dive in next week into the 3 major tenets when we're talking about belonging that you need to make sure that you have at least some structures or some foundations for. As always, go out and create generational impact. And this video right here is going to help you unlock new levels of player development. At least that's what YouTube thinks is best for you. Have a good one.